In this WrestleTalk news, Triple H scraps WWE creative plans, Kota Ibushi reveals interest in WWE Move, and Tempest review of SmackDown. Subscribe and enable notification to always on for daily wrestling news videos.
Support WrestleTalk!
It's Sat-E Day, and you know what that means. It's time for some news. Let's flippin' go! And we're starting off today with some good news because it's February 11th, 2023, and there's still no Vince McMahon creative invasion in sight for WWE. Phew. Another week of sweet Triple H bliss, am I right? Well, I guess not, as despite the WWE product taking massive strides forward in terms of entertainment, logic, and continuity since the game took charge, it's safe to say that not every idea has landed. And look no further than the pairing between Baron Corbin and WWE Hall of Famer, or Hoffa, JBL. While on paper this seemed like a good way to hit the refresh button on Corbin, it really just hasn't worked. It's like Honky Tonk Man and Billy Gunn doing rockabilly. Any new thing never really works. This was evident on this week's Raw, where JBL finally called it quits on the modern day wrestling god. While undoubtedly the right call, this decision was reportedly far from how Triple H envisioned the partnership going. As according to Dave Meltzer on the Wrestling Observer Radio, the breakup was not in Trips' plan. They gave up on it, Meltzer said. Obviously, this wasn't the plan. The guy in charge, that's Paul, felt it wasn't working, and that was it. Where they go with Corbin, I don't know. It felt very much like a burial for Corbin, who had so many gimmick changes. There's nothing wrong or right with him, but in the pantheon of stars, he's just not at that top star level. If it was me, I'll put him back as the lone wolf. That was his best character. Anyway, as for JBL, it seems that the end of this current partnership will likely also see the end of his regular WWE TV schedule. According to PWI Insider, the Hoffa will not be making more WWE appearances going forward. Oh well. Bye-bye JBL and your oversized suits and big old pants. But don't worry, there's still time to grab your modern day wrestling god t-shirts on WWEshop.com. What are you waiting for? Moving on to something garnering his fair share of interest in the wrestling world, the newly minted free agent, Kota Ibushi. Ibushi recently called time on his lengthy NJPW run where his contract expired on January 31st. Naturally leading to questions over where his next home will be. And while we haven't gotten that answer just yet, despite AEW President Tony Khan making it interest well known, we do know that Ibushi will be competing on back-to-back nights for GCW's WrestleMania week festivities. While Ibushi notoriously likes to keep his options open like a holder he is, it looks like one major option may be one that might tickle his fancy just a little bit, none other than WWE. Speaking on the potential of a WWE move, Ibushi told, okay, Tempest taught me this, Dark Peresu Flosion.
Close enough.
I'll take that. Of course, I'm interested in it. However, in typical Ibushi fashion, he was also quickly to remind everyone that he's his own man and likely won't be tied down to one place. Look at him. Just want to spread himself all over, doesn't he? I'm good at producing players and I've created stars, so I don't think there's anyone who can control me even in that frame. I live so freely. I've seen your Twitter video, Ibushi. I've seen you flowing freely. So bad news, Tony and Trips. Looks like you may have to share your new toy around. Lastly, we're finishing off today with a brief look into how the WWE sale process is getting on. Oh, what's that? Vince McMahon is scaring off buyers? Who would have saw that coming? Yes, while WWE CEO Nick Khan recently promised that Vince McMahon would step away from the WWE following a sale if it's the right deal for the company. However, that seems to have done little to squash the fears of some. As according to Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, even Vince McMahon's current presence in the company is a hindrance to sales negotiations. It's worth remembering that perhaps the most highly tipped prospective buyer, Comcast, reportedly dropped out of the race to buy the company last week. However, it can be confirmed whether this was Vince related or not, but combined with this latest report, it could well be. Now guys, get ready for this hot tag to my guy, my favorite brother. He's your future Jam That Jam champion. He is Tempest. What's up?
What is this?
What?
We wear black.
Oh, see, I wanted to tell you. See, I got a photo shoot later.
What are you doing?
I got a photo shoot.
We wear black.
No, I know. But
what are you doing?
Wait, you have to listen.
House of the Black Mask.
No, but
it's in the name.
I know.
Get out of here.
But I'm black. But I am black. No, but I got a photo shoot later. Please, I'll explain to you later. I'm saying, man. Hot tag.
Shout out to our Patreons, the Cleaner, Kenny Shaw, and the British Bulldog, Philip Boy J. Smith Jr. Puro resu. This is Tempest, and this is my review of SmackDown in about 5 minutes. We kick off SmackDown with Paul Heyman's second great promo of the week. Paul puts the current main event scene into perspective, saying Roman Reigns is under attack by Sami Zayn and Cody Rhodes, and really shifted the importance to the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. God, that is a mouthful. He said these titles are the plasma that runs through the bloodline, and without them, there is no bloodline, there is no Roman. People often said that if Roman was going to face The Rock, the match wouldn't need the titles, and I have thoroughly disagreed because of how tied the titles are to Roman's identity as the head of the table, and that is exactly what Paul was saying here. Paul is then interrupted by the hooded Sami Zayn, who Paul had said wasn't there, and Sami prophesies that the bloodline is coming to an end, that Jimmy would side with his brother, and Solo would think for himself, and capped all of this off by holding Paul in a tender embrace and telling him to tell Roman that he doesn't need to worry about Cody because he is the one that's taking the title from him at Elimination Chamber. All of this perfectly sets up Sami to be let down by Jey Uso, and for that alone, this gets a 5 out of 5. Backstage, Hit Row complained to Adam Pearce about not being prepared for Braun and Ricochet, and Pearce said, fine, take on Drew and Sheamus tonight. Congratulations, you played yourself. This match then took place, and it was an absolute squash. Hit Row's stock has fallen so far since the return, they've even got Michael Cole dunking on them. You could count the offensive moves Hit Row did on one hand. I did like when Ashante tried to jump on Sheamus's back, and Sheamus turned it into the white noise. That was cool. Cole said if Top Dollar had tagged in, they would have lost quicker. Just absolutely burying this man. This has to be leading to something. But the artists formerly known as the Banger Bros hit their finishes and got the win, before watching a Viking Raiders vignette on the screen. A damning display from Hit Row here, but a fun showing from Drew and Sheamus. 3 out of 5. Jimmy Uso leaves Jey a short voicemail, and Karrion Kross says tonight he will put Rey Mysterio down, and then we got Lacey Evans. Yay! She beats an enhancement talent who Michael Cole immediately mispronounced her name. Lacey doesn't even do the Cobra Clutch right. What are we doing here? 0 out of 5. Jimmy Uso is still trying to get a hold of Jey to no avail, and Paul Heyman asks where Jimmy was when he was held hostage by a psychopathic Canadian. We are an unhinged people, what can I say? Jimmy says Jey will be there tonight. Sonya is crying about title shots, and Chelsea Green shows up and says she has facial amnesia and shouldn't be expected to remember that Pierce runs these shows. Pierce says Green and Sonya have so much in common and books them in a match against Raquel and Liv Morgan. Did you know that Sonya Deville has not won a singles match in WWE in almost 3 years? Why are title shots even a thing? Jimmy Uso comes out by himself for his tag title match against Strowman and Ricochet, and just as he's being announced, Jey Uso appears in the crowd and walks down to take part in this match, hugging his brother before the bell. This was a very good match with a very good finish. Strowman hit the power slam on Jimmy, and Ricochet hit his elevated swanton, but Jey pulled Ricochet out of the ring to break it up. Strowman tried to do his choo-choo thing, and Jey mastered the second D of dodgeball, sending Strowman over the announce desk before being wiped out by a dive from Ricochet. Jey managed to recover to get a blind tag, and just as Ricochet hit his shooting star press, his own cell took him into the path of Jey's frog splash and the pin. A great finish to a very fun match that the people were very much into. 4 out of 5. Rey Mysterio says Karrion Kross is evil, and then the Usos are walking backstage. Jey tells Jimmy that he always has his back, and Jimmy asks him if he's in or if he's out, and Jey says he doesn't know and walks off. Throughout this convo, Paul Heyman is just lurking in the shadows and then walks up to Jimmy and asks if Jey said anything, and Jimmy says no as Paul gets on the phone. Ooh, snap! This is that good. The way this perfectly parallels Jey Uso overhearing Sammy's conversation with Kevin Owens prior to War Games, and then Sammy lying about it is so incredibly perfect, in addition to the intrigue of Jimmy lying to the wise man. I love this story. I would marry it. Natalya has a microphone and says that last week she took Shayna Baszler's spot in the Elimination Chamber and that Shayna is nothing but a knockoff Ronda Rousey. Shayna comes out and says she's tired of everyone dismissing her accomplishments. She's been fighting before Ronda, wrestling before Ronda, winning championships before Ronda, and then Ronda came out and they both beat up Natalya. Shotzi tried to make the save and they beat her up too, just to remind you all that in kayfabe, Shotzi does indeed suck. Sure looks like they're heating up Shayna and Ronda for the tag titles. Also, is Natty a babyface now? Did I miss that? I don't know, 2 out of 5. Jey Uso is walking through the parking lot and he is stopped by Sami Zayn. Sami says that he doesn't want to put Jey in a tough spot, but at Elimination Chamber, they are on the verge of something huge that Jey has wanted to see for a long time, and that is Roman going down. He thanks Jey for what he did at the Royal Rumble and says Roman won't forget that Jey did that, but for now, Sami acknowledges Jey. Sami offers Jey a fist bump, and Jey says Sami needs to get out of here with that, and Sami Zayn says he's going, and Jey gives him a fist bump. I don't usually rate backstage segments, but the Bloodline stuff on this show is 5 out of 5 all the way through. Set the date, this story and I are having a wedding. LA Knight says he's done with Bray Wyatt and he's looking to the future, and then we got the match of Sonya and Chelsea against Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. This was a short match, and the story of it was Chelsea Green wasn't down to wrestle. Sonya cut off Liv Morgan with a big knee strike and got the heat until Raquel got the hot tag, hitting her twisting Vader bomb for a near fall. Sonya tagged out to Chelsea, who wasn't happy about this, and Raquel hit her choke bomb, Liv hid the Oblivion, and Raquel powerbombed Liv onto Chelsea for the win. I guess it heats up the people that are in the chamber match, which is the correct way to do this match. Imagine if Sonya and Chelsea had won this one. It wasn't anything special. 2 out of 5. Michael Cole does a sit-down interview with Charlotte Flair where she says 3 years ago she taught Rhea Ripley a lesson at WrestleMania, and this year at WrestleMania, she's gonna put her in her place. Then we got our main event #1 contenders match for a shot at the Intercontinental Championship between Rey Mysterio, Karrion Kross, Santos Escobar, and Madcap Moss. Few takeaways from this very fun main event. Rey Mysterio is timeless and still one of the best wrestlers on the planet. I need a proper rivalry between Mysterio and Santos Escobar. Karrion Kross needs a haircut more and more every week, and why the did Madcap Moss win this match? Mysterio was going to set up for the 619, but Scarlett attacked him, allowing Kross to hit his forearm shot to the back of the head. Santos took Kross out with a cross body, and then Madcap Moss hit an elbow drop for the win. But, like, why? Why did they do that? That's not right. At the very least, he has gear that isn't just plain black trunks, but Madcap Moss is still the most generic, uninteresting dude on the roster, and personally, I would like to see the work be done to make him interesting before he gets a shot at the best Intercontinental Champion I've ever seen. 4 out of 5. Just before we go off the air though, Paul Heyman tells Jimmy that Roman wants him and Jey to watch the show from home next week because sometimes you see things on TV that you don't see at the show. Roman watches the show, y'all. The Usos are and I hear wedding bells from me in this storyline. This SmackDown gets a 4 out of 5. And that just about wraps things up from me. If you haven't already, make sure you check out episode 4 of Survival Series over on Parts Fun Known, where the lads try and name every Elimination Chamber winner. I'm very proud of it, and it would mean a lot to me if you checked it out. Until next time, I've been Tempest, and that was wrestling. We were black.
Yes, I'm on a roll now.
Oh, I can't remember. This is gonna destroy me, this one.
Welcome back to Parts Fun Known Survival Series.